Hi everyone, it's Laurel, your astro advocate, and I'm here to talk to you about the new moon in Libra happening on October 6th at 7:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, what is this new moon about? Well, new moons are about new beginnings, and it's an opportunity to go inward and to be self reflective. And this is happening in the sign of Libra. And we have four planets in Libra at the time of this new moon. And so Libra is concerned with achieving balance and harmony in our relationships. And it's going to be challenging with this new moon because we have Mars in the mix. So we have the sun and the moon and Mars and Mercury all in Libra. Our relationships, all of our relationships, begin with our relationship with ourselves. So, in order to achieve balance and harmony with others, we must first have it within ourselves. So, this new moon is asking us to investigate ourselves through the lens of the other. And with Mars right there, right next to, conjunct the moon, you're ready to go. There's a lot of energy associated with this new moon. And Mars represents an area of life where we've been frustrated and wanting to fight for ourselves. And it also represents the beginning of a new 2-year cycle of Mars. It takes Mars 2 years to go around the zodiac, all 12 signs, and this new moon marks the beginning of a new 2-year cycle. So where are you ready to get off the ground, and what are you ready to do next? You're going to be feeling very energized at this new moon. And it could show up in a number of different ways. It could be problem-solving energy with others, trying to create more equality, deeper intimacy, asking harder questions, or it could be about problem solving. How do we come together to solve problems? So there's a strong exchange of energy with others throughout the month of October. This new moon energy is the strongest for 2 weeks, but remember, it is with us, this broad theme, for the next 6 months until we have the full moon in Libra. So this exchange of energy with others is the predominant theme. We also have Mercury retrograde until October 18th. So again, we're feeling this energy inward. And Venus has been moving through the sign of Scorpio, where it can bring up lots of fears about our own worthiness and self-love. And Mars is in Libra, the sign of the feminine warrior. So there's a lot of sort of juiciness here around love of self. How do we take that love of self and bring it forward in the best possible way? Because Venus, as it's been moving through Scorpio, is getting a better sense of herself, a truer sense of herself. She's been getting inspired and understanding where we've held ourselves back and made ourselves small because of other people, because of too much compromise or comparison. And Mars in Libra is very balanced. It wants us to take the risk, the necessary risk to speak up, to go for what we want. It's about pursuing equality and partnership, and it can do this diplomatically when it's speaking its truth and from a place of self-compassion and not a place of darkness. So the goal with this new moon is to build bridges with others while being true to yourself. So, and in the past, this energy, this might have been felt hard to do, but as I said, this is the beginning of a new 2-year cycle with Mars. We also have Chiron in the mix, and Chiron is an asteroid known as the wounded healer. And it's an area of life where we've experienced pain, but as a teacher to help us heal it. And this time around, Chiron is having us, is in the sign of Aries, so it's directly opposite this new moon. And when we have the sun and the moon opposing Chiron, this can often be about a lack of confidence, and we'll learn. But in this instance, the healing comes from learning to accept our insecurities from a place of love. So there's a new opportunity again to begin again here. And this time around, Chiron is wanting to remind you of how capable you are, to give you a boost in your confidence. So we have some other things happening as well at the time of this new moon. On October 6th, the day of the new moon, this is why there's extra intensity and juiciness to this new moon. Pluto is going direct. Pluto has been retrograde for 5 months, and Pluto is about power dynamics in our relationships. It's about our shadow self that we need to come to terms with before we can truly access our true source of power here in this lifetime. So this is about aligning the head and the heart, and about recognizing, as I said, that we are not here to please others. We need to work on being firmly grounded in ourselves and having healthy boundaries so that we know what we're willing to tolerate and not tolerate. The day after the new moon on October 7th, Venus finally moves out of Scorpio, where it's been pretty uncomfortable, and goes into Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a freedom-loving sign. It wants to explore and to have adventures, so you might feel a push-pull within some of your relationships as well. And then finally, on October 10th, Saturn, which has been retrograde, also goes direct. And this is a big deal because Saturn is the planet that helps us achieve our goals. Saturn is our authority that we achieve in this lifetime by learning to put in the hard work and the effort. And it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is about groups. So you might notice some forward momentum within groups. And you might notice that previously something that has been holding you back from participating is no longer there. So it's a pretty busy week. This is a pretty intense new moon. It's here along with the Mercury retrograde and that Mars to help us rebalance our relationships by learning to be true to ourselves and to speak our truth, and to come at our relationships from a place of wanting to achieve harmony and to move forward, because this is really setting us up for what we want in 2022. So in October, we are being given our relationship as the lens through which we are deciding what it is that we want to go for in 2022. And so I'll share briefly for each sign where you're going to be feeling this energy. In Aries, it is the sign, this is happening for you in your 7th house, which is mostly everything I've talked about being assertive in relationships without being too harsh or domineering. Finding that balance within so that it can appear within our relationships. For Taurus, this is about your health and your everyday habits and your work. You might make some switches or some changes within your career or work as a result of not just this new moon, but this is, of course, also as a result of Mars moving in and starting a new cycle in your 6th house. For Gemini, this new cycle, and where you'll be experiencing the new moon in activity for the next few years, because this is Mars' beginning of new cycle. This has to do with your creative self-expression and children. What gives you joy and pleasure in your life? That's what you're going to be focused on. For Cancer, this is about having a lot of energy to do with house and home and family. It could be building a home, but you also are going to be asked to manage more conflict within the family. So one way to deal with that in a healthy way is to become more active with your family as a way of avoiding conflict. For Leo, this is happening in your 3rd house of communication. So you can notice your written or spoken communications becoming more intense, becoming more active. There's a lot of practical information you're going to need to learn. And also how to balance out some of maybe the conflict or antagonism in your communications. So when I'm sharing what's happening for each of these signs, it's showing you where this new moon will be most active, but also where this energy will be most active, or what you'll be learning for the next 2 years because of the new Mars cycle kicking in. Virgo, this is about you making innovations in your finances. There's a lot of motivation and drive to transform and change your financial stability and your family stability, and you just need to be mindful that there isn't too much strife or conflict between what's yours and what is others. So there's a renewal of values happening for you, not just around money, but about what you value, what you consider to be tasteful. And there might be within that as well some opportunities to fight for the fair distribution of resources. Libra, this is happening in you, your sign. So you're on the forefront of the battle for assertiveness in your life, and powerful new ideas can come to you about new beginnings related to your body, your health. And if it's your sun sign, this could be about your career and your goals. If it's your moon, this could be related to your health. So for each one of these signs, it's important to pay attention. Is this my sun sign, which is related to our career? Is it my moon? This is more likely related to my health or my body, my relationships with women, my mother. And if it's the rising sign, then pretty much anything that I'm saying could apply to your life. For Scorpio, this is happening in the area of your chart that has to do with things that are hidden. So you might have a lot of success with being behind the scenes or having insights over the next month about projects that you're working on sort of behind the scenes or in the privacy of your own home. And again, remember this energy is about the next 2 years as well. So you could find yourself putting a lot of energy into projects behind the scenes, things having to do with foreign places or retreats. In general, a lot of energy happening at more of the subconscious level. Sagittarius, this is about new beginnings for you in the area of friendships and groups. So there might be changes you're going through with groups of like-minded people or pursuing larger goals with others and big plans that involve you reaching a wider audience of people. Capricorn, this is your 10th house, your career. There's some innovation wanting to happen at the beginning of this new moon and over the next 2 years with the new Mars cycle about bringing something new into your career. Your status and public reputation could change. And that could also relate to relationships or marriage. You could also find yourself a little bit in more challenges or push-pulls with a boss or authority figure in your life. Aquarius, this is your house of that has to do with your worldview, your beliefs, philosophy, religion, educational, and foreign travel. So you might be involved with more foreign people, you might be taking on more projects or changing your beliefs or feeling like you're almost like a preacher advocating or sharing in a broader, clearer way what the beliefs are that are important to you. And finally, for Pisces, there's a lot of energy for you around having some psychological breakthroughs, potentially related to a crisis or a changing point, because this is happening in the 8th house. So you might be meeting some of your biggest fears, and you might be engaged with sharing resources with another, because the 8th house has to do with shared resources, or working through some fears that you might have around intimacy. So remember, for all that I just shared, this has to do with both the new moon, but if it sounds really kind of big, that's because this is about the new Mars cycle. The Mars is with this new moon, kicking off a new 2-year cycle. So that's why we might be feeling this new moon with some extra potency. So I hope that this was really helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And if you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe.